The billionaire burst into laughter the moment the poor woman whispered, "Feed me, and I'll make your father walk." But that laughter shattered into silence when her eyes locked onto his with a calm, terrifying certainty that felt almost unreal. In the middle of the crowded market, surrounded by noise, lights, and wealth, the air suddenly grew heavy, as if time itself had paused. And even his father in the wheelchair sensed something strange in the woman's fragile yet powerful presence. Her torn clothes and tired face hid something deeper, something unexplainable, and when she repeated those words again, slower this time, the billionaire's confident smile began to fade into confusion and unease. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments, what time is it and where are you watching from? Let's start. Just seconds ago, he was a man who believed money controlled everything, but now, standing before a starving woman who spoke with fearless certainty, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: doubt mixed with fear. "Are you mad?" he snapped, laughing again to hide his discomfort, his voice loud enough to draw attention, but inside, her words echoed again and again, refusing to leave his mind. The poor woman didn't react to his arrogance, didn't beg, didn't argue. She simply stood there, her hollow eyes filled with silent disappointment, as if she already knew he would reject the opportunity fate had just offered him. Irritated and embarrassed, the billionaire gestured harshly and ordered security to push her away, treating her like she was nothing more than an inconvenience in his perfectly controlled world. She stumbled back slightly, but instead of anger, a quiet sadness appeared on her face, as if she wasn't hurt by his rejection, but by the fact that he failed to recognize something truly important. Without saying another word, she slowly turned and walked away into the crowd, disappearing like a shadow, leaving behind a strange emptiness that even the noise of the market couldn't fill. The billionaire tried to shake it off, continuing his shopping like nothing happened, but his eyes kept drifting toward the direction she vanished, and deep inside, a question had already begun to haunt him. As he stood there pretending everything was normal, a shopkeeper quietly mentioned that the poor woman's name was Anila, and somehow that simple name settled deep into his mind, refusing to fade away like the rest of the moment. The billionaire repeated the name Anila under his breath without realizing it, as if saying it might help him understand why her words felt heavier than logic and stronger than everything he believed in. His father, sitting silently in the wheelchair, gently looked toward him with curious eyes, as if even he sensed that this encounter with Anila was not ordinary, but something far more meaningful. Trying to regain control, the billionaire forced a smile and continued buying items. Yet every decision felt mechanical, his mind distracted, constantly replaying Anila's calm voice and those impossible words. The laughter he had shown earlier now felt hollow, almost shameful, as if deep inside he knew he had dismissed something important without even trying to understand it. While walking through the market surrounded by luxury and comfort, he suddenly felt a strange emptiness, realizing that despite having everything, he still couldn't help the one person who mattered most: his father. His father gently placed a hand on his arm, a silent gesture of comfort, but instead of reassurance, it only made the billionaire more aware of his helplessness and frustration. The name Anila kept echoing in his thoughts, growing stronger with every passing second, as if it wasn't just a name, but a question, a challenge he couldn't ignore anymore. As they finally left the market, the billionaire took one last look behind, hoping to catch a glimpse of Anila again. But she was gone, completely vanished, like she was never there. Sitting in the car beside his father, the silence between them felt heavier than ever, and for the first time in years, the billionaire wasn't thinking about business, money, or success. He was thinking about Anila. As the car moved through the city streets, the billionaire kept staring out of the window, but instead of seeing buildings and lights, all he could see was Anila's face and hear her mysterious words repeating endlessly in his mind. His father sat quietly beside him, observing the unusual silence, sensing that something had deeply disturbed his son, something beyond business stress or daily worries, something emotional and unresolved. When they finally reached their luxurious home, the grand gates opened slowly, yet for the first time, the billionaire felt no pride entering it, only a strange emptiness that followed him inside like a shadow. He carefully helped his father out of the car, lifting him gently into the wheelchair, his movements slow and thoughtful, as if the weight of his earlier actions had suddenly made him more aware of every detail. As he pushed the wheelchair through the long hallway toward his father's room, the silence echoed louder than usual, and the image of Anila walking away kept replaying in his mind with painful clarity. His father looked up at him with a soft expression, as if wanting to ask what was wrong, but the billionaire avoided eye contact, unable to explain something he himself did not fully understand. After settling his father comfortably in his room, adjusting the blanket, and ensuring everything was perfect, he paused for a moment, staring at him, realizing how helpless he truly felt despite all his wealth. Walking back to his own room, he felt restless, unable to relax, as if the comfort of his home had turned into a cage, trapping him with thoughts of Anila and the possibility he had carelessly ignored. That night, he lay in his bed staring at the ceiling for hours, unable to sleep, replaying every detail of the encounter, wondering if Anila's words were madness or something far more real than he dared to believe. As the night grew deeper and silence filled the entire house, one thought became stronger than all others. He needed to find Anila again, no matter how impossible it seemed. Morning light filled the room, but he woke with the same restless thoughts, Anila's words echoing louder than ever before. At the breakfast table, untouched food lay before him, as his mind stayed trapped in that moment in the market. His father watched him quietly, sensing a storm inside him, but choosing silence over questions he might not answer. Suddenly he stood up, a decision forming within him, realizing he could not ignore Anila any longer. Without explaining much, he grabbed his keys, his urgency clear as he rushed out toward his waiting car. Driving alone through the busy streets, he kept scanning every corner, hoping to catch a glimpse of Anila again. He returned to the same market, stepping out quickly, his eyes searching through crowds with growing desperation. He asked vendors and passers-by about Anila, but most shook their heads, unaware of who he was talking about. Each negative answer increased his frustration, yet also deepened his determination to find her at any cost. As time passed and hope began to fade, he realized finding Anila would not be as easy as he had imagined. He left the market with heavy steps, but instead of giving up, he drove toward nearby streets, hoping fate might guide him again. Turning corners slowly, his eyes scanned sidewalks and alleys, searching every face, every shadow, hoping to find Anila somewhere. Hours passed, yet his determination did not fade. Instead, growing stronger with each moment she remained out of reach. Frustration built inside him, but so did curiosity, as if something deeper was pulling him toward Anila beyond logic. He stopped at a small shopping mall nearby, thinking she might have gone there, his steps quick and filled with urgency. Inside the mall, he moved from one section to another, asking people about Anila, but no one seemed to recognize her. The noise of the crowd felt distant to him, as his focus remained fixed on finding the one person who had shaken his world. After searching every floor without success, he stepped outside again, disappointment clear on his face, yet hope still alive. As he stood near the road, about to leave, his eyes suddenly caught a familiar figure walking slowly in the distance. His heart skipped a beat as he realized it was Anila, and without wasting a second, he quickly followed her down the road. He followed Anila at a distance, careful not to lose sight of her, his heart beating faster with every step she took ahead of him. The busy road seemed to fade away as his entire focus locked onto Anila, who walked calmly, unaware of the storm she had created inside him. Gathering courage, he finally called out her name, Anila, his voice slightly shaky, carrying both urgency and a strange sense of hope. Anila stopped and slowly turned around, and the moment her eyes met his again, a soft smile appeared on her face as if she had been expecting him. Seeing her smile, the billionaire felt a sudden relief, like he had finally found the answer to a question that had been troubling him all night. Without wasting time, he stepped closer and said he was ready to accept her condition, asking her to help his father walk again. Anila listened quietly, her expression calm and unreadable, as if she was measuring not his words, but his sincerity and the change in his heart. After a brief silence, she gently shook her head and said she would not go to his house, surprising him once again with her unexpected response. Instead, Anila told him to come back the next day with his father, her voice firm yet peaceful, as if she was setting a condition beyond his understanding. Though confused, he agreed without hesitation, knowing that this time he could not afford to ignore her, then slowly turned back toward his car. He drove back home in deep silence, his hands steady on the wheel, but his mind racing with thoughts about Anila and the strange condition she had placed before him. Entering the house, he immediately went to his father's room, his face serious yet hopeful, as if he was about to share something unbelievable but important. Sitting beside him, he explained everything about Anila, her words, her refusal, and the meeting planned for the next day, his voice filled with cautious belief. His father listened quietly, his eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and trust, as if he was willing to believe simply because his son finally believed in something beyond wealth. That night felt longer than ever, but unlike the previous one, it was filled with a strange hope that something impossible might actually become real. The next morning, without wasting a moment, he carefully helped his father into the car, his movements gentle, as if protecting a fragile chance at a miracle. They drove together through the same roads, both silent, yet connected by an unspoken expectation that this day could change everything forever. After searching for a while, they finally found Anila sitting quietly on a chair outside a small hotel, her presence calm, as if she had been waiting for them all along. The car stopped immediately, and the billionaire stepped out, helping his father onto a nearby chair, placing him gently as both of them faced Anila. Anila looked at them with a soft smile, then slowly stood up, her tired appearance unchanged, yet her presence now felt stronger, almost powerful in a quiet way. She asked for nothing more than a simple meal, and without hesitation the billionaire arranged food, watching closely as she ate with quiet dignity and peace. After finishing, Anila stood in front of his father, placing her hand gently on his shoulder, closing her eyes for a brief moment as silence filled the air around them. Seconds later, his father's fingers moved slightly, then his legs trembled, and slowly, unbelievably, he began to stand up on his own for the first time in years. The billionaire froze in shock, his eyes wide with disbelief, realizing that the woman he had once laughed at had just done what all his money never could. Tears filled his eyes as he looked at Anila with deep gratitude, understanding at last that true power does not come from wealth, but from kindness, faith, and the humility to believe. If this story touched your heart, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us again for the next powerful journey.